Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. And the roll, what time is it?
5:10.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call, Frank,
Yep.
Ann, here, Kay,
Yep.
me, Tina.
No
Tina's
absent.
not here, it's Victoria, Julia, and I would like to introduce our new member, Roger Moss. Welcome, Roger,
Thank you.
and he's here also, so, we're so happy to have you.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, how are you?
Good.
Everyone knows who this is, right?
Mayor of Berlin.
Berlin Mayor, you don't know, oh, okay.
Trying to get here, but we haven't yet.
Oh, not yet.
Yes. We have a new member, Mark,
Great.
Roger Moss. We're
Hey.
very happy to have him, because we were down one member when Lois,
Right,
had to
that's
leave,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
So, we were looking for a new member and he volunteered.
Volunteer for punishment, that's great.
Oh, we have a nice commission.
So it's your mind, you guys are great.
Okay, audience of citizens. We have an audience of
Yes.
citizens. Would anyone like to?
Here, an audience of one.
Yes, you are.
Um,
And our people here, audience also. Would anyone like to have anything to speak, to say?
Well, first of all, I want to hear what the commission has to say.
Oh, okay, you'll hear that as we go through our minutes. Yeah, okay. Anyone else?
We don't think,
Yes,
no, we don't put our, when we start our problems that we have here.
you can speak up now.
I could,
Yeah, of course, of course.
okay.
This is the audience of citizens.
Where's the top man that does this?
Joe,
Yeah.
I did not invite him tonight because I,
Oh.
No, I
Doesn't
didn't.
answer his phone.
but I did talk to him on the phone, but I will be able, happy to convey any concerns that you have.
You know the concern. Well, my name is Arlene. She's Arlene.
Yeah, you have to let her know so that she can put put it on the minutes.
I've been in the Britain almost all my life. Past 2 years, we've been trying to get into Marginal Arthur and I, we cannot get in there. I don't know what the problem is. They had the girl that went down there. She never did anything for us. And we still to this day don't know where we are. Now, if you're running for, huh? Where we stand, they told us I'm number 4, and she's number 8. Now, this is almost a half a year ago. And we still don't hear nothing. And I understand they have a lotto, which I don't believe in the lottos.
I don't believe in a lot of.
Because the first thing is that I don't know how they get the names to go into that lotto. You could put a lotto, and you can pull a name out. And let's say, well, this person really needs it, and they take that name out. This is why I don't believe in lottos and things like this. It should be all on the up and up, the way, how we get in there.
First come, first serve, right?
First, I mean, there's somebody that might have to come before me because they really need the apartment. But they don't tell us where we stand and what we're doing. I've tried to get contact with Joe many times. He doesn't return the calls. I do talk with,
Me.
there's so many Barbaras.
I know.
And we do talk to her a lot and and we're down here and I pay $36 to come here a year. And then they don't seem to do anything. That's for bingo and stuff. But as far as the way you are running Marjorie Moore, it's a disgust.
Namaste.
No, huh?
Namaste.
No, and I mean, it's not right.
Nope.
I mean, and you should go, have somebody who knows what they're doing.
Exactly.
And right now, and I live in New Britain, one of the apartments. And I've discussed it with there, and I've been there 23 years now, want to get out. But I'm in an area that's not safe. As you know, New Britain has a lot of problems, and I just feel as though we should be, we're notified once in a while where we are, how much longer we have to wait. Now, if I'm number 4, how 2 years it takes me to get in there? She's number 8.
And
Now,
you
we're
are not alone. You are not.
No, and I don't think it's fair. That's why I don't believe in the lotto. I think it's very wrong.
But
what they
let's,
should do.
let's go to it. I mean, what is the format here?
I don't know, that's.
So
that's
have
the
you
exact-
attended any of the Berlin Housing Board or Berlin Housing Committee meetings that are on?
This is the first time we knew about it,
Okay,
okay?
I'm just reading in the minutes from last month when
Yeah,
Joe
no.
was here.
Because we've been in contact with Barbara. Barbara knows very well what we're going through right now.
They meet monthly on the second Wednesday in Marjorie Moore at 5 o'clock. The notes say anyone's welcome to attend and speak at these meetings.
Yeah, the number there too as well.
His phone number, which she said hasn't answered it, right?
He hasn't answered the phone at all. And she knows because I told him I called and Joe has not called back. All I want to know is, just tell us where we are and why it's taking us so long to get in there. And for me to come down every week, I'm not gonna come every week. I mean, I wanna come here because I think that you people should know what's going on and I think it has to be corrected. Let's ever go wrong. And it's not fair to us to wait that long. Really.
And he did address that at our last meeting.
Yeah.
Because, and then the lady that was in charge of that was gone.
I know.
So I wonder if it's the transition, trying to get new people on board to see what's happening. I could call, I can't call tonight, but I would call him in the morning.
Well, I don't wanna keep bothering him either, but I think we should be notified too of what's going on and why we're taking so long to get in. And this is my first time here because I never knew that we could come to these, really, to be honest with you,
You're welcome anytime,
but now we know.
anytime.
So Barbara, do you know the exact process of how this works?
Yes, the process is, and it has nothing to do with Joe, it's a process that's set up by the government. And it has to be a
You mean
lottery.
You mean from
Yes.
federal government,
It has to
state
be,
government,
yes.
local
Yeah.
government?
And it has to be a lottery. It can't, I agree with her. I don't like the lottery. I think it should be first come, first served.
So what you do is you call up, you get your name on the list. Now, who picks the names?
You fill out the application, right? And they did that.
Yeah,
Twice already.
So let's jump to who picks out the names in
Well,
the lottery.
The rationale is that doing the lottery, they feel it makes it, the power to be, to make it fair because the person, it's not like a favoritism thing. Your name goes into a hat and it gets pulled. And all the names from a certain
And
area,
who pulls the name?
well, I would assume that the gal that runs the housing,
Which is Nevermore, both the raven, she's gone.
yeah, but there's somebody else in her place, whose name is Brett.
Who?
Brett. Pat.
Matt.
Matt,
M-A-T.
Matt, yes.
Oh, he works for the Marshall.
Brother Marco,
Right,
yes.
but he's only like an interim.
He's just public.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have no one there.
So who do we talk to?
And that's what I'm saying. I wonder if the problem is the transition because Liz is gone and Matt is not permanent, right?
Right, but I mean, if somebody's filling Liz's space, they should be doing Liz's work, no?
We're gonna know to tell Joe about Devonta. Yes, you're right. There should be, somebody should be letting you know where you are on the list.
Who do we call to find out we're still on that list?
Well, that's,
Talk to now.
I would say now, because Liz is gone, and I would call her, and now Matt is in charge, but do you think that he is really not in charge yet?
No, I think he's trying to do her job for now, till they find somebody else to take it. I mean, and in a way, I don't know, I'm not so sure how much of it he's doing because he's not coming here. The girl that works down there part-time is coming here. So,
Darlene.
yeah, Darlene, is she doing,
She is
Liz's
not,
job? What is
um,
she doing? She's just
part of
part-time.
Liz's job,
Only here one
but
day.
that's not her
Hired
job.
for one day a week
That's
for
not her
Mark.
That's
title.
not her job
Yep.
title. This
That's
is
right.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's an empty space.
Because she's
Oh,
actually a retired person. She's hired 1 day a week for Marjorie Moore.
That's right.
And I didn't ever get a very, I always say that all of you, I understand your frustration. I never got a really good explanation of why they do the lottery and exactly how they do it.
Yeah,
Somebody
exactly.
says to you, well, so-and-so pulls it.
Yeah,
And-
so-and-so.
Yeah, really. And
Put a name.
when did they
Let's
decide
go.
to do this?
And
Somebody
when?
said it's been in place for a long time.
Yeah.
Nobody ever said that I was in a lottery when they called me. I was on the thing for 2 years and I just figured my name had come up.
Which is the way it should be.
And if we have that many names on the list, why is it taking months to get these empty apartments filled?
Well, you have to realize too, that people have to either leave or go to live somewhere else or die before the apartment. So there was 5 empty
No,
apartments.
I know.
And now they're cleaning them up, and I saw one of them, and you could not believe the condition that apartment was in. So they do, you saw that one too. They have a lot of cleaning to do when someone moves out.
It's sometimes, but sometimes the apartments are not that bad. They're not all a junky mess. That I can tell.
Well, the 2 that I
Because I
saw,
moved
and
there.
they were here, I never got to Marjorie Moore.
Well, I'm talking about Marjorie Moore. I can't speak for here.
Yeah, the 2 that I saw when I did my tour, they were here,
Okay.
and I was appalled to see the conditions that they
Of
were.
course, I think Marjorie Moore's had a facelift though, a lot more than this one has.
In what way?
A lot of the apartments here are in,
Bad shape.
well, they paint them, that's about it.
yeah.
They run through, they paint it.
Yeah.
And then they, that's
That's
pretty
about
much
the
the
extent.
extent.
Yeah.
Replace any appliances that are in too bad shape to
Yeah.
use. You know. And sometimes they paint the appliances. My refrigerator is flaking. I mean, yeah. It works.
Are you hearing all of this of Mayor Berlin?
Well, when you folks are done and I'd say my piece, I will give you some suggestions. After hearing
We
this.
need lots of things. We need action.
It's not fair to us.
No, it's
Does not sound.
But you are not the only ones, I can tell you, I know of other people that are trying to get in and they can't, they've been waiting even longer than you.
Yes, there is, and I'm concerned about that too. I remember when I had my father on the wait list, it was a long time before he finally came to the wait list, and then he decided he didn't want to come here, but after all that, but, it's a long time before you rise up to the top of it.
And it's very frustrating because we don't know how the process exactly works. You say lottery, okay, who's picking the lottery? When did they pick it?
I think they have a certain time. And when the cutoff comes, when all the apartments are cut off, we ran into that last time, remember, it was a date.
Yep.
There was a date and by a certain time, and then those apartments were filled. So then they have to start again with that wait list. I know, I think it's frustrating too. I have to admit that.
Is there any way to change that whole scenario? In other words,
Well, the
when
problem,
you
one
get-
of the problems is.
Yeah.
The town has no say over the agency.
you're talking DeMarco.
No, I'm talking the housing.
Oh,
We do, we
The
do,
housing authority is not a Berlin housing. authority.
well, we do appoint board of directors, though, including Joe, so we do have. you know, Folks that are on the board of directors that aren't doing their job. Then we can remove them and appoint someone different that, I mean, they are the board of directors, we do have that authority. Which is gonna be one of my suggestions that was certain that you folks would go to. Their board of directors meeting, and you are also very welcome to come to a council meeting. In our audience of citizens and explain it to the whole council, and we would certainly look into that as well.
Now, who appoints Joe Bajors?
We do, the town council,
You say we do.
town
You-
council,
And
myself,
how
and the
many
rest,
are on the council?
there's 7 of us,
Okay,
6 members, 6 council members and myself. the mayor.
Okay.
We do have that authority over them as far as the board of directors.
Right. And then I have another question. Now, the Berlin Housing Authority covers senior housing and other housing as well, correct? Am I correct? Yeah.
No.
Assumption.
Joe, the senior housing is the housing authority. Yeah, they don't cover other homes like private.
No, wait a minute, but like the trailer park, doesn't that come
No.
under?
No, no, no.
They're under the town, that's under the town.
Marjorie Moore and Percival Heights.
Is the only thing that's covered by the Berlin Housing Authority.
Yeah.
All right, because I'm hearing conflicting reports on that.
Well, you understand though that it's not just seniors that now for certain government regulations, folks that are in some of those units that are not just seniors.
Oh, I know, I
You
know
know
there.
that, right, you know, yeah, okay, I mean, but right,
Right, yes,
it's not just
educate everyone,
senior,
yes,
it's, right, it depends on
right,
whatever. the
yes, yes,
rules are,
disabled,
which-
yes.
Which are formulated by the government, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it,
Yeah.
yeah, got it. yeah.
Not by us, not by the town, but
Right.
the state, federal, it's.
Yeah, that would be, they have to also, according to the laws now, have to admit disabled. Also, they can't just be Berlin.
Yeah, I understand that, yes, some of my neighbors are disabled,
Yeah.
they're under the, age, yeah, got that.
Okay, does anybody else have anything for the audience? I'd like to give the mayor a few minutes to,
Yeah.
to speak.
But you will get to the bottom of that and find out what the format is as far as who picks it and, you know.
Well, Joe supposedly
Name.
told us what it was.
Yeah. He told us that it's not first come, first served. It always goes into a lotto.
Okay, who picks the lotto? That's my question.
They
Well,
picked us, from what I understood from what he said, they picked a certain number of names.
Right,
They
but
picked
they,
out a certain number of names
him,
and put them in a jug.
him or
That makes
other,
sense. Pull them out.
yeah.
Why would you have a waiting list?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
thinking the
same thing.
That makes no
We always
sense to
get
me.
pushed back.
It needs to be changed. First come, first served.
Probably
That's
need
it.
to see where that comes.
Well,
from
the names
first.
come from the wait list.
Yeah, right, I get it, but, I mean, if someone's waiting for 5 years, then conceivably they would never be picked.
Other towns don't go
Right.
by a lottery, I mean, other
They-
towns
they
have a.
don't.
no, they-
Yeah, okay, that's why I don't.
The one on the list, first
That's
one
right,
out is
first
top of
come,
the list.
first served. That's
I
what I
think-
thought. Where's this lottery?
I'm not sure
stuff
the government is dictating that they use a lottery. I mean, on the wait list, I understand, of course, the wait list,
Yes.
is a wait list, right?
And that's
You-
fair. Yeah.
Right, that's fair, but that doesn't make sense to me, just listening to you folks, I have no. Where that comes
You
from,
think
but
that other towns don't have to use the
That's
lotto?
what,
Yeah, I don't believe you have to require state law or federal law to see a lottery is the only way you select the reading list. I mean, I know
We have a
people,
lottery in our building.
yeah, I
it
know,
might
I
be
know.
their policy,
Yeah.
it might be the housing authority's policy.
And there's more wiggle room there for favoritism when you do have a lottery.
That's what I think it was happening.
This way you have the dates people applied, it's right here in black and white, and go right down the list. So if you apply
Unfortunately-
first,
Right, unfortunately, it's not, I mean, I'm new, so
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
it's not this board's purview or ability to change or do anything with the housing authority and how they operate. Like the mayor said, the way to do is go to council or go to the housing authority meeting itself. And look to get replacement or new members on there that listen to the people that want to listen, but I mean, unfortunately, we can't make any changes.
And according to Joe, last month when he was here, that's the laws of the state. You know, he does not make the law, he does not say, oh, you can't, you know, we can't have a lottery, it's not up to him. And it's all with the housing and even with the disabled, it's all in the town, in the state.
Well, that would be federal laws dictate federal and state.
Yeah,
Wherever the. funding
federal and
comes from,
state,
right?
yeah.
yeah, we get that part, it's just that part about the lottery. That's of the dubious nature.
Well, I thought he explained that pretty well last time he was here, but. I mean, I could ask him again and I could ask him to come back again. He's always willing to come back, so. You know, if we choose to have that That's fine, I will ask him. For
If it
November,
can be eliminated, lottery thing can be eliminated.
Have we called like other housing authorities in the area? To see how they do it?
No,
Maybe
I-
we should, just to see,
that might be food for thought. That's an excellent idea.
like the New Britain Housing Authority, do you know anything about that, Elaine?
Yeah, we don't have no lot, you go by how they come in.
Because Barbara had made the point about favoritism, but doing it by lottery is kind of more suspicious, cause then you think like,
There's
you're not,
multiple
nobody
legal
is seeing somebody pick a
favoritism.
name, they could just say, oh, well, I know this
Yeah,
person really
that's-
needs it, so.
And put it back in the jar. Oh,
And
we
I'm
want
gonna pick this
person here.
name, yeah.
This way, if you go by the dates
Mhm.
of application, there's no room for argument.
no, but if there's 50 people on the wait list and they
Right.
take the top 10. And those people go into a lotto and their names get pulled, they either choose to come or not come. Then they go to the next grouping, but, you know, they have to have a cutoff of 10 people in the lotto.
But why do you have, see there again, I disagree with that. You take the top 10 people, you notify them, either they want the apartment or they don't, none of this lot
Yeah.
of stuff.
And then if you have 2 or 3 apartments vacant,
Yeah,
you fill them right up if people wanna come. If they don't wanna come, then you have to go to the next. one.
exactly, without the lot of
Move
it.
down the list.
Was there any indication when the 5 apartments that are empty will be ready for occupancy?
I don't know what the status is now. They were cleaning them up the last time he was here, and I know when I was touring. There was a lot of cleaning to do in at least 2 apartments. And there were, I think at that time there were 5 vacant. So in this area, I did not get to Margaret. Because I was supposed to go and then Liz left and I never got to go down there. Okay, does anybody else have any? Thing that they would like to say? I would like to give the mayor a few minutes. Yeah. Okay.
Appreciate it. Just to your folks' point, I would certainly suggest you go to the housing, the board of directors meeting for the housing authority. They are, you know, Joe is on the board of directors, he's the chair of the board of directors, so. That would be the place to ask those questions, that's what their job is. And or you could certainly, come to the council meeting and tell the council about it. I would be happy to relay some of this tomorrow night to the council meeting. And I'd be happy to go with you to the fight. I was gonna go to the board of directors meeting last week, but I didn't go. The housing authority. If you wanna go, I'd be happy to go with you.
When is that?
What is it?
Wednesday?
What is it? Second,
They
Wednesday?
meet monthly on the second Wednesday at 5 o'clock in Marjorie Moore.
Second Wednesday of the month.
March.
Marjorie Moore.
Yeah, where to go?
I think it's in the main office there. Right? The main office area.
So it's second
Second Wednesday of every month. Would be October now, correct? Second Wednesday.
September was the 13th.
The date would be what?
October.
Then I know when to go.
It should be, and it's on, you know, it's on the town website. But right, it would be the 10th.
11th,
October
Sorry, the
11th.
11th,
What time is that?
5 p.m.
5 o'clock. Same.
Good, we'll see you there.
That's September 11th. you
Yeah,
said?
No,
October 11th.
October.
Oh,
11th.
October.
October 11th,
You live in-
at Marjorie Moore,
Yeah.
it's in the office
October.
area there, and then meet,
Okay.
and I'll try and attend that myself if I can, honestly.
Thank you.
And that's really the folks that, and you know, I mean, Barbara, it's, you guys are all great to help out, but you know, it lies with that, you know, let them go to the board of directors.
Yeah.
I mean, they are their own entity, you know, town has some authority over it, but they still have their own entity. So. That's where you get the answers.
And I do have to say.
Yeah.
On Joe's behalf, I mean, he has been dealing with the new housing, which is still in the low, but, it's really difficult. When your hands are tied with the rules that come from the state and the federal government.
Yeah.
You can't just say, oh, I wanna have this person in, no, that doesn't work that way, you know? So. it's
There are a lot of rules, there's no doubt,
Too many rules.
federal and state dictate.
Yep.
Many things.
Yep.
That's where most of the funding comes from. So the one who controls the purse strings.
Yes,
Fortunately,
money.
right, that's what.
Yes,
That's
yes.
what happens. So that is so true, Barbara. Yeah, no, they are tied to a lot of different regulations, but that doesn't mean you can't get an explanation from them about that. You know, they're the ones who deal with it every day, right?
And I will give Joe a call again tomorrow.
So,
Okay,
and I'll bring it to the council's attention.
yeah,
And so, speaking of the housing authority, it's funny how that's what I was here to talk about a little bit about the new senior housing project, so. Working about this for a long time, so. In August, Joe had represented to the council that, he knows this, because I told him this at the last council meeting. That he had secured funding for it, to the tune of $34 million from the Wells Fargo Statutory Trust, and they were gonna invest in the housing. The housing project, or 50 units there, in the Knights of Columbus property. Well, so we had a closing. You know, the documents prepared now to transfer title to that property to the housing authority, and in that closing on that day, no, we had a special meeting of the council to approve it. No money showed up. $34 million didn't show up. So the first explanation we got from Joe and his attorneys, he was represented by council, as was the town, our town attorney and a closing attorney. He's done closings for 30 years. We gave him a few days. The explanation was that in the transfer of the 34 million to the closing attorneys on that day, it got lost in the federal wire transfer system, which on occasion does happen. However, we are now a couple of months past it now. Now we gave them a week, we gave them another week, passed the, you know, we all held our closing down, everybody signed everything, we're ready to go. And still really no answer what happened to the $34 million from Joe, from the housing authority, from his closing attorney. And had a couple explanations. It was lost, never really heard that story. Then we heard that Wells Fargo pulled out, and Mr. Majorski gave the town manager Roche a name of someone at Wells Fargo, and can't seem to get a hold of him. Highly unlikely they would pull out at the last minute like that. Highly unlikely the money is still lost somewhere, $34 million. Wells Fargo is a major bank, so to say the least, I'm not very happy at all with what is going on. I don't know what is going on, which is disturbing me, because we spent a lot of money on closing, and the closing attorney said he's never heard of that in 30 years of practice of law. So the next representation Mr. Majorski made to the council, last council meeting, was he found another $34 million. And he said we would have it in a couple of weeks. Well, it's been a couple of weeks. There's no other 34 million. That's come to light.
Wizard of Oz.
Well, so just because I know Joe, he can't come here at the one of the last meetings, which when I heard this, I was very upset by. Basically blaming the town for the delay in the senior housing project, and that couldn't be further from the truth. The town is the council and, you know, the town of Berlin. And I told Joe this in the council meeting last week when we called in. I said, where is the $34 million? Oh, forget that, I got another 34 million. You know, forget the first 34 million. I had closing. The closing was done, other than we couldn't transfer title. There's no funding. Just like when you go buy your house in a closing, you sign all the documents and you transfer the money. Nothing changes hands till the money comes. Well, I don't know where the money is. And that's not sitting well with myself or the council or the town manager or anyone else or the town attorney. And he's represented by council. I don't know what they're doing or not doing. It's the housing authority attorney. They're a large law firm in Hartford. So those are kind of the facts of what we're dealing with right now. You know, we'll see where it ends up. And I think Joe did, to be fair to Joe Jaworski, he represented that we're gonna file a lawsuit against Wells Fargo. And he was gonna call the FBI as well. Well, I don't know. I was a federal agent myself, so some of the stuff he's telling me is not making much sense, but whatever. $34 million
Yeah,
doesn't, yeah, the FBI. Well, I don't put much credence in that either, Barbara, but I will give him the benefit of the doubt, but I've been giving him the benefit of the doubt for one time. As has the council, as has the town manager, as has the town attorney. So, you know, Probably, we will look elsewhere for funding to get this project going, because I'm not thinking the Berlin Housing Authority is gonna get it done. And it's taken a long time, it's not all Joe Gross's fault or the Housing Authority's fault. We had, from day one, I was on planning and zoning, when we approved this project many years ago. And, we had a problem, there was a, easement from DEP, from the state, there's wetlands in the back of Knights of Columbus. That took, and Joe worked hard on that, I helped him, it took 2 years, 2-3 years to get that done. The little piece of one of the buildings was on the state easement for the wetlands. So we had a, dealing with the state of Connecticut and the federal government, if it gets hard dealing with Berlin town and housing authority, go to the state and federal government. But so we got that worked out, and then the federal government and the state government changed the way the credits were for senior housing. They didn't want to call it senior housing anymore. And it just, they have, many towns are having the same issue we are. To not, I'm not blaming the whole thing on Joe and the housing authority. But we all worked through that. We all did. We worked together, the town did, town council, the housing authority and Joe. We spoke all the time, So we got to the point, we're here finally with the 34 million, and now that doesn't show up. And Wells Fargo, it's not like it's showing up from Joe's bank. Well, I don't mean Joe Pedorsky, but anybody's bank, it's Wells Fargo Bank. There would be an explanation what happened with the 34 million. They could have certainly decided to pull out. But there would be
Don't
some,
they have to give you a formal notice?
yes, there would be some correspondence. Everybody executed all the documents, so there would be some correspondence, of course, like in any closing, if the money doesn't show up or. Either side pulls out of the transaction, there would be some documents. So, I'm an attorney as well, so I've done closings in the past, and my past life before a federal agent. So, the whole thing is very, very odd, very disturbing to say the least, so.
I have a question.
Yes,
for you.
yes.
Can you take control of this situation?
Well, to take control of it will be, we will just go, the town itself, not involving the housing authority.
Yeah.
We own the property, the title is never transferred to the housing authority, because the money is never, paid to the town. So yes, we can find other developers trying to work on getting the bill. That's
Very
most
good.
likely where we will be headed.
Great. And when do you make the decision to do this?
Kind
much
of
time
already
decided?
formally started, yes, I haven't formally done that yet, well, that'll be a council decision, we'll probably talk about that in the next
Well,
couple of
that's
meetings.
good news. That's very good
Yes.
news.
And we tried, really, honestly, and Joe did too, I don't mean to take anything away from Joe, he tried very hard, and but the money not showing up at the last minute, that's odd.
Very odd.
The whole thing is very strange at this point, and it's, a relatively new development, obviously, in the last couple of months, but again.
Yeah.
34 million does not evaporate without some kind of explanation. It's
And
not
there's
like,
a lot of people here in town that would like possibly to move it.
no doubt,
We do
it's
not have
50
enough
more
senior
units.
housing
Yeah,
here.
agreed, yeah. So anyway, we're working on that,
Well, that's,
and I think that's probably what we're gonna need to do, because. Again, I haven't heard about the second 34 million either, it's now a couple of weeks. Past the council meeting where he told us that on the record, you go watch the recording, watch what I said to Joe, I said everything that I said in this meeting, I said to Joe. Where is the money? Show me the money. So anyway, that's where we're at on that, but we'll work on that. And we still own the property, and we still have a plan, so.
Good.
The next thing I just wanted to mention was the community senior center, you heard a lot about that. We are, still looking at that, that's not off the table, that's completely off the table. Unfortunately, that size building, it's a 72,000 square foot building. The cost to construct that building now will probably be somewhere around $40 to $50 million. That's probably about the cost of the high school. That's not something that we should be doing, it's not fiscally responsible. Many of the other community centers that we visited that were built by towns, the newest one, I think it's Newtown. I think there was less than half the size of that. They did not have an indoor pool. They got a $10 million grant from GE. Because it was Newtown to build their building, they built it a few years ago, I think it's been open 2 or 3 years, something like that. They're losing money on it, by the way, and the town is eating a lot of money for that community center. So we have to be very cautious where we go with this building. It certainly can't be 72,000 square feet, for size of our community. I don't think Hartford or any other big city ever, no one has a building that size for a senior community, even with a. Many towns are looking to close down some of those facilities because it's costing them a pool in that size building with a pool. We're talking probably $2 to $3 million a year carrying costs for the town, taxpayers' dollars every year. Never mind 50 million to construct it. So one of the other options is to shrink the size of the building. You know, we're still looking at that property across from the high school. That seems to be the location for most folks. And that's, you know, we have looked at the different locations of town on property that the town owns, so we don't have to buy a piece of property. We can shrink the cost, we can talk about doing that. I think that's where our discussions will start again. And the YMCA, I know some folks, Barbara, I know, you know, you're never the most, biggest fan of the YMCA, but.
It's not just me.
No, I know, it's other folks.
Anyone in the senior center
Yes.
that you talk to, they do.
Well, that's not true. When I was here at the senior center, several seniors spoke up and said, we don't want to spend $50 million for the YMCA, we'll build a building for free. We give them the land, we lease it to them for 50 years, $1 a year. If they build the indoor pool, they build the building. And we wouldn't get rid of the senior center here. This will stay. We're planning, actually, the next plan we have is to fix some of your parking, probably take that circle out and see if we can get more parking here too. But we would have the indoor pool. If you go to any of the YMCA's around the area, the one I've gone to here, one I used to go to in Santa Monica, California, Virginia, where I used to live, grew up here in Berlin too. You go from 9 to 3 or 4 in any YMCA, anywhere, it's all seniors, okay? Go to Meriden, go there during the day on a Tuesday afternoon at 10 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon. The seniors are there, they're swimming in the pool, there's programming for that. But we wouldn't get rid of our senior center either, so we would have both. But we wouldn't have to pay for the building, which is the huge cost of the town, and we wouldn't have to pay for the carrying costs. Because obviously we have to hire more staff, the indoor pool is probably about 250,000 or 500,000 a year to maintain that pool alone. Again, all taxpayer money. That means the mill rate goes up significantly for that building. Not the best fiscal decision for all of us who are taxpayers in Berlin. When we look at the folks that come to the senior center here, I believe the folks that come here, I think it's some of the same folks, but I believe there's about 900 folks that this senior center services. I believe that's the
No.
number. That's where,
It's way more than that.
is it, we have a number?
I-
That'd be great.
I don't have a total number. I just have the daily and the monthly
Yeah,
average.
What do we have? What is it?
Do you,
We-
that's part of the director's report. Do we want to wait until we get to that in the agenda?
Sure.
No, we can do that.
I'm
We
just
can
curious.
do that later.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that later, that's fine. But we have a town of 20,000 people and.
It's not way more, but it's
you know,
still significant.
Have a swim team we'd like to support as well. So if we could get an indoor pool built in a facility for free. I don't understand the opposition. Seniors in every town and every place I've been in the United States. That's who's there during the day, Monday through Friday. Because everyone else is working or at school or whatever. And I don't know, I have never heard Barbara, well, with respect to you and a few other folks I've heard. And I've asked a lot of people in town. The majority of people say, great, build a Y. Why would we build a Y? And why would we spend this kind of money when we don't need to? We spend it on many, many other projects we haven't done. So I don't know what the feeling I've heard, the biggest thing I've heard from, saying to you, Barbara, well, we have no control over. I don't know what control we need to have over an indoor pool and the YMCA. They service the community. The Y is all over Berlin. We have the YMCA daycare in McGee Middle School. We have
And
a
Tupper.
great partnership with the YMCA. Obviously, they gave us their building free downtown that used to be the Y to do the transitional academy for the high school. So we kind of made a trade with them. Gave them daycare in McGee. We modified some space for them. They paid for the modification as well. But for that deal, They gave us the transitional academy, which is for children, the students that graduate over 18 that have some disabilities and different things, and that's the academy that Berlin runs, and Cromwell's part of it. So under state law, we continue to pay for that to help those students, kind of learn a little bit more about life and hopefully can live on their own as they get a little bit older. We have to pay for that till I believe we're 21.
And that
So-
building doesn't cost for,
Not anything. The renting the building, right? We pay for this in programming, obviously, but actually Cromwell sends some of their students, so we get money from Cromwell to support the program. But the building was in trade-off with the Y to go in the key
they're not
Yeah.
paying anything
for the building. Correct,
they're not paying anything for the teachers.
correct.
So,
Other than they paid the mock.
Right.
So, they're a great, support and a great partner with the town, obviously, the Board of Ed and with the town. So they have senior programming, we have never really had a full presentation from them, we had a small presentation. To the committee that was studying the community center there,
Yes, and
but it was
his-
not a full presentation.
Well, no, but he did say that they do nothing for the seniors. Their focus is the youth.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah,
kids.
in conversations with Don, he's on the board of directors, he lives in Berlin now, I've had many conversations, that is just not correct. I don't know who said that in the meeting, I was at that meeting,
Amy, who is their director.
I was at the meeting, I didn't hear that myself, but.
Well, it's
that's
in the
okay.
minutes.
Well, but, so we're not gonna just jump into this either, so what we need to do now is kind of go back. Start not from square one, but we need to look at it, we're gonna have some discussion, do we shrink the square footage and have the town pay for the whole thing? And while we're talking about that, we will have the Y come in to the council and have a full presentation on what they could do for us, what the cost would be to the town. We, again, lease them that property in a 50-year lease, let's say. We wouldn't charge them, again, it would be a lease, but it'd be $1. And that's why they're going to come and build a building, because they won't pay for the land. And we still will own the land, forever and ever, obviously. So, that's what we're thinking to do. And we've done a lot of, we went to a lot of different towns. And the town-owned community centers are not doing well in most towns. They're costing the town a fortune in taxpayer dollars. And are not attended by a lot of people in those towns, even Newtown. Newtown, Mansfield, there's a few others that the committee went to. I did not go on field trip. The only one I went to was the Meredith YMCA. But when we were looking at WISE, it's part of the whole committee. So we've done a lot of research, the committee did a great job. That's where we're at, it's not a dead issue. We're gonna find a way to do it, to help our seniors, to help the whole community. And the swim team will be able to swim in town too, that's the goal, to get something for us all.
How would we do that?
How would we do that? Well, we're gonna decide whether we're gonna have to make a decision on whether we're gonna shrink it down, the size. Which is still gonna cost us $30 million, I have no idea what it will cost. Everything's gone up with construction.
Mayor, when we
Yes.
had our budget meeting
Yes.
here.
Yes.
You said at that time, I had a concern because I think we should go to referendum. Let the people decide if
We
they
do that
want to
too.
take this on or not. But you said we would have this conversation with the finance board. We have not had this
Well, the
conversation.
finance board is completely against the community center spending that kind of money for the community. So they voted it down. They said, no, they don't want it.
Yes,
That's them. That's not the whole community. But
no, and that was one of their members was here at
Yes.
that budget
Yeah,
meeting
yeah.
here that day,
Right.
and he said. I like this building, let them just stay here. However, he comes once a year for the budget meeting. He doesn't deal with the parking and the excess
Oh.
programs that we could have that we can't have.
Agreed.
So I think we have to, there has to be a lot more conversation
We
here,
can't
a
have
bigger
And
discussion.
where would you make the more parking?
Well, we're thinking about, first of all, taking the circle out. We could probably somehow redo that, put some spots there. That's the latest plan that.
And you get what, maybe 6 spaces, 8?
I don't know. I mean, we have to.
For handicap, that's not a lot, because a
Yeah.
lot of people that are handicapped.
Right.
The
We
center,
have to see how many more spots we need. I mean, I don't know that. I don't
you
think-
get rid of the ball fields that way.
No.
Then you'd have to get a trolley to bring them up.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had this discussion
Yeah.
about 4 years ago,
Yeah,
we
but-
signed a petition, we're gonna redo the parking
Yeah.
lot. And this is not gonna work, because at that point, we couldn't take the trees down, because for every tree we took down, we had to plant another tree.
Okay.
And that was not a practical thing, and I said, we'll take the trees down, go plant them
Right.
down, but
Right.
that was not good. So.
Who said that? I never heard that
The
one.
previous person that we had with Park and Rec,
Yeah.
the gentleman,
I don't know.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Well, it's 4 years ago.
yes, and the parking, there's not a lot of room there to
Yeah.
expand parking. And we don't have enough parking, and I've seen people come to the center and then leave because they're not gonna park way up on the hill. They have mobility issues, it's just not, it was not meant to be a senior center. And I think that we have to put it to referendum and let the people decide, and the seniors will choose to have a building of their own. A better building.
That's not what a lot of seniors have told me, quite frankly. Because when I tell them how much it's gonna cost their taxes, or you could get something for a lot less, they are not too happy hearing that, Barbara, I'm telling you. That's not what I hear, that is not the I hear the folks that are against the YMCA, quite frankly, a very small group of folks. A couple, one's on Park and Rec, and yourself and a few others, but I believe me, I've been asking everybody in the community, so have many other people, I ask all the time when I took, I explain it to them. Why would we spend 30 million, 40 million, $50 million, why we'll build it? Why would you do that? There is not one, I'm sorry, 1 ounce of common sense in my head that would tell me to go do that. But we're gonna have the same programming, we will keep this location for certain programs. And the Y has told me that, of course, they're gonna do some senior program. Not maybe everything we want, hence, we would keep this building.
But you can't leave your conversation with the dollar signs. We
Oh,
have,
well, we have to,
yes, we do, but that's
have
why I'm saying to you,
yes.
put it to referendum, let the people
We can.
choose.
You and I know what's gonna happen. They voted down a $20 million police station, they're gonna vote down a $50 million community center. I'll bet my pension on it.
I
okay?
don't think so,
Been
because
doing this for 8 years now, I'm telling you, people are not gonna open up their wallet for that.
the police station was not a good location, that's why it was voted down.
That's not right.
Yes, it was.
No.
But
I'm
that,
glad they did, but
yeah, because now we have commercial property.
yes, well, the folks in charge before wanted it there. And they were gonna take good commercial property, right, away from town.
Yeah,
But that's why it did get voted down, but
Yeah.
also people did not like the price tag on the police station either. I mean, that's right, when I came in office, they wanted me to have a vote on again, I said, no, they already voted, the folks voted, right?
yeah, we did.
We can put, if that's what folks wanna do, you wanna go referendum, we can.
Well, I think we have to have a conversation.
We
You said
can.
we would have a
We've
conversation.
had this conversation,
Make
the
the building
last-
smaller,
yes,
do
we've
variations of
spoken
this.
about this now for in Berlin, the new community center, probably what, 25 years now?
Oh, my God, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Remember they were gonna
We've been
put it where
talking
the,
about it since
remember they
the
gonna put where the Lions pool was,
Yeah.
remember that was way
Yeah.
back?
And they called me at that time, they wanted to put it there,
Right.
yes.
And so. We can have more conversations, time is for action, but if we wanna do a referendum, that's gonna take longer, that's fine, I just don't understand. Just go to the surrounding communities and which are, we had the committee do that. And we can bring that information back, it's not my information, it's what they found. We could have a meeting with the public, that's no problem, one more time, we can do it. And show them the pros and cons of what we already have discussed and go from there. If we wanna go to a referendum, I guess we can. I think that's just gonna waste more time and I'm pretty sure the vote will be no. And then we'll be starting again, but we can do it if that's what the community wants, I don't know. We haven't had a lot of community input, quite frankly, even when we've had forums, and we've had a couple forums. We've also had a committee meeting, had people there, council had people speak to us. I've seen no overwhelming. Folks telling me, go to referendum, we want our own building.
Because
people
how
have
else
said-
are we gonna do it? And here's.
The YMCA is gonna do it, that's who's gonna do it.
Well, then-
Private entity that.
It's a
But
public-private
then
partnership.
it's Part of the referendum, do you want the Y or do you want it to be a town issue, a town?
We
Building.
can send out a survey and see if people want a referendum, we're gonna waste a lot of time with the referendum,
I have a question.
yes, but
Now,
that's what we want, yeah.
if the Y
Put it through.
runs the whole situation.
Yeah.
Will there be fees involved or membership?
Yes. Half of the seniors would be, probably in the Silver Sneaker program.
Okay,
And they-
YMCA's aren't in, so to speak.
Well, they told me half the seniors were not paying. We also talked about this. This is with the former town manager, so.
They probably would, that's a good answer, is they probably would.
Well, no.
I
there's-
wanna hear, I wanna hear it from the YMCA is that they're gonna let us.
Well,
talk
that's
about
up to
every
them,
day.
but that's,
I don't
let's
wanna
say,
do that.
let's say they don't pay for any seniors, okay, let's say they say, no, we're not, seniors have to pay. All right? The discussion I've had before with the town manager, the former one and a Roche, our current one, it would be cheaper for us to let them build a building in the indoor pool, and we just pay for all the seniors memberships. We could put that in our budget, it would be a heck of a lot cheaper than paying for the maintenance of a town building. We could do that with, I don't know, $25,000 a year, even if it's 50,000 a year, even if it's 100,000 a year for the memberships. Okay, we're talking millions of dollars a year to maintain a building with an indoor pool. And you would all go for free, we could put it in our budget, that would be much more economic.
Well, I have another concern
yes.
too, because the Y was given $1 million grant for their building in New Britain because they couldn't keep up the facility. So they got the grant from the state for $1 million to fix their building up there.
Yeah.
So if they can't keep the New Britain facility, how are they gonna keep a facility and build a facility down here? And if they end up not or defaulting on this, then the town has to pay for a building that we did not design.
We're gonna decide, I mean, I'm looking at this as a partnership. I talked to the board of directors. They wanna work with the town. I mean, they wanna come here. You know how many mayors I've spoken to that have said the Y wants to come to Berlin? They said, how did you get them to do that? I talk to the mayor of Rocky all the time. I work over there, but I see her all the time. I talk to her all the time. Smart, that's great, you're getting the Y. I mean, the towns want the Y to come. I just go back to, this is California, I know it's across the country, but that was their community center. Everybody was there, seniors, you name it in Santa Monica. And it worked wonderfully. Virginia, the same thing, I mean, just towns around Connecticut, the same thing. Some on their own, yes, they do. No doubt.
Well, I just wanna know, Rocky Hill just built a new community center, senior center.
Yeah, no pool.
They have a pool,
I don't think there's an indoor pool.
yes, there's a pool,
Indoor pool?
yes, there's a pool, and they are
Not
not
the new
partnered
things,
with the Y, so how did Rocky Hill, smaller than Berlin, do that?
That's right by town hall, the couple pool in that building.
They
And
told
indoor
me
pool?
there's a pool, they can swim there.
I'll check on that. I'll read it.
My son went there, he
Yeah.
said it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
He lives in Rockingham.
As is the Southington YMCA where everybody goes, then the Plainville Y where everybody goes.
Yeah, and
I mean, I'll talk to Lisa. I mean, I know her well. I will ask her how they got that done.
And our committee spent a lot of time
Yes.
visiting different towns,
Correct.
different community centers, different
Right.
senior centers. They came back with very comprehensive reports,
They did.
and they did a wonderful job. And
Yes.
I just think that,
Yeah.
in deference to that,
Yes,
then we have to consider this, and we have to decide.
But-
If we want the Y, then put that on the referendum, see if people want.
did
it.
you look at what the report said? That's why the Board of Finance voted it down, because that report of those folks that we all, there was no real pros for the town building.
No, because one of the Board of Finance members says we're fine here, we don't have to move, so.
Well, that's my
No.
opinion, but yeah, I know, I get that.
So that's why I'm
Right.
saying we need to have a discussion.
Yeah. All right.
And if the discussion brings up a referendum, then that's what we have to do.
I
We
agree.
have to let the people choose.
So let's do it.
I mean,
Where
I
do we
pay
wanna do?
$100 extra for my taxes if we could have that.
How much
nice
more extra?
facility.
You think?
It's gonna not be a long, a year, every house is gonna be assessed. We've got big, huge houses in town. I mean,
Oh, that's who he doesn't wanna have to pay taxes.
but I mean,
No, we have seniors
For
on
those
fixed income
seniors.
that don't wanna pay more money.
we want places for.
We're all seniors, I'm a senior myself, I don't wanna pay more tax money, but I wanna fix things,
But you also want a place to be in you don't know how the people here, this is their social life,
I get it, I understand.
you know? And they enjoy being here, we have all kinds of groups, and I think that
I'm with you,
we can't cut that out.
no one's looking to cut that out, Barbara, we're trying to enhance it. But let's do this, I'm with you. Let's do it here, at the senior center. All right, let's have a public forum here, I'll figure out a time. We'll get that report out to everybody here, you know,
Yeah.
we'll bring copies, so people can digest that, right, we'll get that to everybody.
And
And-
bring people here to,
Yeah, to have a discussion about it,
Have a
have the public
discussion.
forum here, right, because I wanna, you know, it's, we're talking, I mean, it's a community senior center. We want the seniors involved in the discussion, we want
Yes.
everybody involved, but. yeah, I've tried twice to have a public forum like that. We got like 20 people,
we were having public forums when we were having those, we had a couple of.
you didn't get a ton of people,
No,
you got
we
a
did.
couple with a few people, you did.
Yeah, we did
Yeah,
have.
well, we'll do another one, we'll revisit all that. And if you wanna go to referendum, we'll go to referendum, fine with me.
If you're going to have public forums or any kind of meetings where you want to gather a crowd.
Yeah.
How's that?
I know where this is
It
going.
needs to be during the day because so many seniors
I'm with you,
have visual problems.
Yeah.
And cannot drive at night.
yeah, no, we'll do it, that's why I wanna do it here in the day.
We have over 7,000 seniors.
I know, I'm one of
according to
them,
the
I know,
last
I hear you,
census.
I'm one of them, I'm with you.
And it would
Oh.
be difficult to do like McGee during the day
Yeah.
because school is in session.
Right, right.
So if we wanted to do McGee, we'd have to do it in the evening, we don't wanna do that.
I,
You can do it on a day when there isn't school.
you could do that too. But the last time we did it there,
There weren't a lot of people,
and it wasn't,
I think we'd get a lot of people.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking, do it here. We want a lot of people, we want a lot of seniors, I
And
agree.
we want input from them.
Yes, I'm all in favor.
And I want you to know that I'm not the only one that
I
is
know
not in favor of the
I'm
law.
not, I know you're not,
Yes.
I know you're, you wanna get everybody, so let's go.
Way that you can get funding in Marbury Mall Fund to do a town. Community center.
Maybe,
134 million.
yeah,
Well, not 34 million, but at least something subsidized.
I mean, we could try, we could certainly try for donations. That was the other thinking on, again, it's an option, I'm not, it's not my decision, it's the town's decision. The Y is the best at fund, they had to raise some funds too, but the YMCA, quite frankly, New Britain, Berlin and Meriden, it's all one, now, right, that's one YMCA. They, since the pandemic, for whatever reason, they are flush with money, okay, we should all be that happy. But they would also do some fundraising and they had money to get this project started. So that's the last, I haven't spoken to them now for several months, but the last time I talked with Don, that's the board directors here, but, they have the money to do, because I asked them that same question, I'm with you, Barbara, like, okay, we're gonna say you're gonna go build it and then you never, right, you never, you don't come up with the money. You know, and now we're left, we're gonna sign a lease till they obviously show us the money and, we're not gonna sign over town property, but. That's my concern too, but he assured me, and obviously his board of directors would vote to do that as well. But, yeah, no, we can get it started again, that's okay, let's do it, let's do it sooner than later. Cause I'm tired of waiting too. I want it too.
I think
So-
we owe it to the seniors after all these years.
Agreed.
To do something, and
Let's do it.
that's the thing that bothers me, because the administration in town. Is not supportive. Of senior housing, look at how long we've been dealing with senior housing, and now with the community center.
Whoa, wait, let's see what hands it's in, that's the housing authority's hands it's been. To bring this project through, and they can't do it. So now the town administration is gonna do it. If I'm still here after the election, we're gonna do it. We're gonna get the money.
You think that because Wells Fargo is having financial difficulty, that's why they well, they didn't back out.
We don't know.
Back then in the month.
Yeah, no, no. There is no plausible explanation for the money at this point in time.
Yeah.
As an attorney, as a federal agent, as the mayor of Berlin, I've heard no from Joe, I'm sorry, he's the one he can go look at last, 2 weeks ago, council meeting. I just kept asking, where's the money, Joe? He had no answer for me. All I had to answer was, oh, I found some other guy that's gonna invest 30 bucks. Okay,
He does have another investor, but he also has an attorney that's gonna give them a, what do you call that, when they back out of the deal?
well, he's claiming they're gonna sue Wells Fargo. And the FBI is gonna investigate. I'm not sure what he's suing on, but he gave us the name of somebody, I told you, he gave a Roche name. And a Roche is trying to contact that individual Wells Fargo statutory trust. It's not like the bank, it's a separate entity, but part of Wells Fargo. No response from Wells Fargo.
Yeah, that's what he's
Yeah,
dealing
well,
with too.
the day of the closing, I don't think a bank like Wells Fargo will pull out of the deal. I mean, they've had communications with them for months. We finally got to the closing and, that's a rare deal that a bank that size would just, first of all, the explanation was that they pulled out, was that they lost the money. I'm buying it, okay? I've heard a lot of people from a lot of things in my career in law enforcement, and, that's not very plausible to me. And I did money laundering investigations, and I tried to find money that disappeared. 34 million in the federal transfer system does not disappear, okay? But that just doesn't happen. From a major bank.
Yeah,
It may from, the Colombian drug lord that's trying to find his money, but it's not from Wells Fargo to the town of Berlin, the Berlin Housing Authority doesn't disappear. So anyway, that's a whole nother topic which I'm going to investigate, because that's not right. That's a big delay. We were on the brink, as close as we've ever been. No one's more frustrated than me. And no answers. Now, we got another guy with 34 million. Okay. 2 weeks ago, we were supposed to have an answer a week ago. We're a week past that.
so how will we resolve this? We'll just wait for Joe.
Not waiting for any with
You're
Joe.
going- So how are you going to?
Well, at some point, the council will take a vote and say, we're just gonna look outside, Joe. The housing authority can't do it. They can't put it together. It's our property, it's town property, it's taxpayers' property. We'll have to go find another developer that'll do it.
Are the taxpayers gonna be good with that?
What's that?
Are the taxpayers gonna be good with that?
What, do you want the
If they
housing?
don't- If they don't want the senior center, they're not gonna want all these same people that don't wanna pay taxes are not gonna wanna.
No, the housing, we're gonna build.
Housing.
No, I don't think so. Well, the housing authority's not getting it done, so I guess we could wait another 10 years for Joe to come up with money. But it's not getting done, obviously. And we could keep waiting if you wanna leave it with the housing authority, I mean, if that's.
No, I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do, that's not.
We need another developer, that's what, we don't need Joe to do it.
We need senior housing in this.
I know, and we could get it done with a private developer, we don't need the
More.
housing authority to do it. We could build it and then turn it over to him. That's what we could do,
And
get
he
it built.
says he has another developer, so how will that go? They have to go before the council.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
This
to.
new developer?
Yeah, I mean, the town has to close, I mean, we have the title to the property, just say, no, we're not giving you the title, Joe, we got another developer, and we're gonna develop it, when it's done, we could transfer it to the housing authority. He just does not see, the housing authority, not just Joe, there's a board of directors there, don't appear to be capable. In the last 2 to 3 years, after we cleared everything up, there was other problems, it's not anybody's fault, that's just what happened, but. The last 2 years, we have been talking about funding and, Joe was his job to get the funding. We're gonna transfer it to him, right? We were there. I mean, he forced us to do that closing that day. We were gonna do it the next week, and he said, no, we can't wait. We need a special town council meeting. I said, Joe, you got the money, we're there. No money showed up that day.
Well, I think he's frustrated too, because we've been working with this for a long time. I've been calling him once
Yeah.
every meeting, before every meeting.
Yes.
For years,
Yeah,
and this is crazy.
Yeah, I
because people,
agree.
like she said, people are waiting,
yeah.
And we're not getting any younger either.
None of us are, that's for
No.
sure. So if we could bring another developer. The town would handle that whole construction. That doesn't mean, we probably would, once it's built, just, turn it over, transfer it to the housing authority. They can fund it and maintain it like they do the other ones here, although my dear.
You have to do that?
Well,
Yeah, I mean, is that have to thing?
no, we have to, it's,
Hand it over?
we don't have to, but typically the town does not want to be involved in managing housing. That's not really what the town does.
You're not gonna be a
that me?
landlord.
Yeah, we don't really want to be a landlord. That's why we would do
Do you
it.
want me to?
It's just not what we want to do.
But I just think
But
it
to
would be
build-
better for the citizens if we do.
We manage it.
Yes. Yes,
It's just typically not a town function.
no, I know, typically, okay, but.
Yeah, but I don't
Do you
know
want me
if
to-
any- I mean, we,
Situation here, Marjorie.
yes.
We still may not have a full-time person there. And there's a lot of problems over it.
I've been hearing complaints about, I have been hearing.
Yes, okay. And why did they fire her without having a replacement?
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I mean, we have a lot more on our
Yeah.
agenda.
I know, we have to move on.
So,
I'll
Scott,
tell you, even our-
yeah, for discussion, I appreciate the time folks gave me.
It's not rude for you to leave. It's okay to leave.
Yes,
And setting this straight.
and let's set up that public meeting as soon as we can come up with a date. That would
Let
be
us
great.
know and we'll be happy to,
Yeah, you want me to pick a date, and see when you guys are, when the room here is available?
Yeah.
okay.
What do you think, in October sometime, or?
Before snow.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what I'm thinking.
October's 2 weeks away. That's
Yeah.
not enough time to inform and get. I wouldn't think.
How much time do we need to spend?
For a,
What do you think?
For a major meeting to have here,
A month, the end of October?
I'd say the end of October, beginning of November, but I mean, it's problem with having something, Eric, I just said, it, you have 9,000 members. If 9,000 members decided to show up, where are they gonna park?
Roger, they are not showing up, okay? I'm telling you. I've been at many
I know what
meetings,
you're saying.
but most we probably have here is maybe, I don't even know, if we got 100.
Yeah, last
So what's this room seat?
But the photo was for the same.
165.
I don't know what the city is.
150?
165.
250?
165.
165.
I think that says 150. It's either
That's the-
one
that's the
sixty-five or
max,
150.
right?
Yeah, that's what it's, I think that's what it says.
So we'll do whatever time frame you want, you know what? If you guys wanna tell me, if you wanna set it up and tell me. Whatever.
It's standard, I can see.
No, we'll let
Want me
you
to do it?
set it up, yeah.
355
Yes.
standing.
I'll talk to Tina,
Yep,
we'll advertise it, we can put it in the citizen,
Yep.
we'll put it on the town website,
yep.
put it on Facebook page. And Roger, I'm thinking a month from now.
And when does the newsletter go out?
Oh, yeah, tell me that.
We haven't done it yet.
When will it
Yeah, we
go
haven't
out?
said sometime this week.
Or does it
so
go
if
out
we
for
could-
October?
Yeah, it hasn't gone out yet. So sometime this week, we'll send it out for publication.
This week, though.
Yeah,
It
this
goes to the
week.
Printers, and the printer sends it out, right? So it's like a week and week,
Yeah, about like a week and a half.
that's the end of September. So you're looking in October that.
Yeah, so if
Would
we
it
did
get
it,
in this- would it get in the October letter? Newsletter, probably, right?
It would be more towards
Well-
the end of October though, because we have to give ourselves time for publicity, which is another reason, because we don't have a lot of publicity from our newspapers in town either,
Oh, I
you
know.
know?
There's
A lot of cooperation,
Couple other
we should
problems.
say. But I would do it towards the end of October. That gives us.
When are you finalizing it?
hopefully sometime this week. And then we send it to the printer and then the printer has been so unpredictable. Sometimes it's here in 2 days, sometimes it's here in like a week. So we can't really rely
So
on them.
we pick potentially a date and before you send it, and that date would be, this is the October one that's going out.
Yeah, it's October. I would definitely discuss that with Tina for sure.
Okay,
Even if it's late October, early November.
okay.
Yeah, I think,
All right, so Barbara, you think late October works? Roger, what do you think? Late
I
October?
think late October would be good,
What do you?
if we could do it
what do you
then.
think, Roger?
I think it needs to be in November.
You think November is better?
I think more time
That gives us more time, you
to
think?
let people know. I mean, again, we haven't set a date. We need to talk to Tina. We need to figure out what would work for this facility based on what the
So
schedule
if I
is
talk to
already.
Tina tomorrow, she gives me a date the last week in October.
Yeah, we can do the first week of November, like you said, we need
Well,
time for publicity.
That's the election week, we don't wanna do it that week, so let's look at the vote. We can do it after the election, just one election, I don't really care what you do it, but
No,
if you want.
that's right, election day is in November. We can stay
Well, you
like
have
that.
to, you can do it the week after that, but,
Do it the week after the election.
yeah, or you could do it
That would be
sooner,
the
but I
week
don't know,
of
I'm not
12.
sure why we wait another, that's what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks.
Waited this long.
Yeah,
You took the words
Well,
out of
let's
my,
not wait any longer, I mean, I guess that's my point, but
And-
if you guys
and
wanna
the-
wait, it's on you then, I'm trying to do it quick.
I think that set it up. I think, and we need to have the publicity for around town too, for people to.
You got, so if we do it the last week, there's still another whole week, well, this whole, what's today, Monday? There's 2 weeks left in September. So a whole month of October, we pick the last week in October, right? It's whatever Tina
I
tells
think
you
the
is about
beginning of November, but maybe right in
Yeah.
November, but like he said, it gives us more.
the week after the election.
We have to be after the.
Then it's starting to get cold out and, all right, you don't have the snow.
Could be 90, could be 90.
All
Okay,
right, I'll put
Barbara,
it. I'll
thank you.
figure it
I
out.
gotta go, cause I can't drive at night. I don't see
oh,
it.
oh,
Right.
please
Better
do,
hurry.
yes, yes.
Better hurry.
No,
I'm sorry, we
I
pick
can't.
up all the time.
Get darker by the
I hope.
Quickly, Tina, give you a report,
yes,
Victoria?
Thank
Oh, okay, so we
Okay,
will,
we shall see ya.
we'll be all set with that.
okay.
Nice to be here.
Thank you.
My house said no.
Frank,
Thank
do
you,
you
Barbara.
have a report?
Sorry to take up. your time.
The mayor pretty much covered everything,
Well, this is very.
but, no, the only thing I gotta say is, election that's coming, so everybody's gotta vote. And I think if you want an absentee ballot, you go down to the town clerk, you can get an absentee ballot.
All them, right?
And there's been talk of, early voting. It's not official yet, but there has been talk of early voting, so keep an eye on that through, the town clerk or, Facebook pages and communications, about early voting.
You know, we had voted for early voting and I thought that was a good idea, except that now they have it a month out before the voting, so I don't know how that's gonna work.
Right, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah,
That's about all I have.
okay. Ann, do you have a report?
Just a quick one, we had a picnic for Labor Day, we only got about half of the people that lived there. So maybe 14 or 15 people. We still have bed bugs in apartment 25. And the ceiling is leaking over apartment 10. In the door, it's in the wall between the apartment and the hall, and it's coming out into the hall. And it's been leaking for over a month.
Did you
And
tell
some of
them?
those heavy rain, they know, they
did?
said there was some kind of a leak, but. It's in front of one of the residents and she said, well, it's not coming in my apartment. I don't know how that could be. If it's coming down the wall. Enough so that it's flooding out and, wetting the rug. I mean, the rug has been really wet. But I don't know how much that was. They're supposed to be fixing it. I don't know if it was repaired or not. It was still wet the last.
Over here, right now,
Yeah.
Marjorie Moore.
No, this is for us.
Well, what about the Marjorie Moore? There's no.
Oh, I don't live there, but I can't have a report to there.
No, but
If you want, somebody wants to give me stuff, I'll report it.
Okay, yeah, well,
That's
that's, see,
just it.
we didn't even know that. We don't know how to go about all this stuff.
Well, I don't know, I don't know if it was repaired or not, that's all I had basically.
Barbara, all right, back up to the minutes. We didn't vote on the minutes. Oh, that's right.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of last week.
Minutes from
I'll
last-
second
yeah,
them.
okay, good.
I'll abstain since I wasn't here.
I completely skipped over
Tina's
that.
report is printed.
Yes, Gina's report, Ann's given her report. Frank has, as far as my report, the mayor covered everything that I wanted to say, so. I only have 2 other small things that I wanna mention. The Berlin Nursing Service. I've had 2 calls, people that went into the hospital, when they're going to have a whole, at home. They request the Berlin Nursing and one person was told they were out of business. Got it. So the other hospital, the other Hartford Healthcare is trying to direct their people to their nursing services, which are different parts of the state. So I think we have to make it known, if people are in the hospital, they have to request the rural nursing service. Because that's 2 calls that I had of people just, they just don't, when they request it, they tell them they're out of business, that's crazy.
Well, who's
So-
telling them they're out of business?
The people at the hospital, when they say we want rural nursing, they say, oh, no, they're out of business.
And that's not true.
No, it's not.
So how do you rectify that situation?
So they have, that's what I'm saying, it has to be more word of mouth, people have to know if they go into the hospital or their loved ones go into the hospital to request the rural nursing service.
Right, but they're gonna get the same answer. So the person that gave that answer that they're out of business has to be educated.
Yes,
So
well,
by
that's what
someone-
that's why I'm trying to educate people so they know to say
The
that.
person that's saying it is doing it because they work for the other service.
Oh, okay.
That's what she's saying.
Harvard Health.
And I was gonna bring up one more thing, and I'm just gonna touch on it quickly, but I'm not gonna dwell on this tonight. I think out of town members, I think their membership fee is $35 a year, and I think that's
36.
high. 35,
36.
36, 36. Oh,
I do have notes from Tina if you'd like me to read
well,
those.
you know what? I'm gonna table that till next time.
Okay, very good.
Because already it's late and, I feel like we've kept everyone so long. And I'm gonna look into, which I did not have time to do today, I'm gonna look into the Rocket Hill and Newington. How much they pay for their out of, town services, people.
Well, I know New Britain's is cheaper.
Yes, I was told New Britain was cheaper and I was told, theirs was $20 a year, so that's. In comparison to our 36.
There's-
Okay.
I think you need to look at what they're subsidized by the city versus what we're subsidized by the town.
Well, that could be true. too.
This is true also in some, this is not in Tina's notes, this is from my own brain. I know that the senior center that I used to work at in South Windsor. I forget how much they charge annually, but they do charge some senior centers for various programs, charge their non-residents more than they charge their residents, if anything.
As opposed to a yearly fee.
Right, or in addition.
Oh, I understand.
So if their fee is $12 a year, but that's an arbitrary number. Some senior centers, if they're hosting an event, if residents have to pay $5, non-residents have to pay 10. And that goes for even exercise programs or craft programs, so it really does vary across the state and town to town and city to city.
Well,
That
I'm-
comes from my own brain though, so
Yeah,
that
and
is
I'm
not.
gonna
on
look
behalf of
into
Tina.
that with Rocky Hill and Newington and New Britain also. Because those are the areas in our area. Okay, is there any other old new business before the meeting? No? Is there any old business before the meeting? I think we covered almost everything tonight, I think. Okay, then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
Second.
and I thank everyone for being patient and listening to the whole thing.